Because as a sensitive myself, dude, we don't fucking realize how much sensitivity we actually have, bro. To be honest with you, man. And I'm doing great, by the way. But we as empathic people or sensitives, we don't realize to the depths of what we can feel or how we can perceive what it is that we are sensing, right? And I think it's important, dude, because lately I'll be honest with you, you can kind of like be around people and you can feel unnecessary pressure being around people, like you shouldn't be near those people or you should stay away from those people because of the way that it makes you feel inside, especially in your stomach. You know what I'm saying? There's also that gut instinct, is what spirit is saying, that, you know, just allows you to understand that there is something beyond yourself that is speaking to you right now and making you aware of what the fuck is happening, right? Some way, somehow. And we don't realize that in that first indignation that we have that sensitivity or that feeling is that we need to look within ourselves and not necessarily study everything around us, because that's already happening, right? So it's not necessarily about taking the deep dive into what the fuck is this and where's the fuck is coming from, in a sense, because basically at that point you're probably taking it personal, you know, because it's making you feel a certain type of way, instead of being honest and opening up to yourself and being like, in that moment, and be like, dude, what am I feeling, dude? You know what I'm saying? Because when you fucking do that, it allows you to go deeper than where it could take you on the surface level, which is normally 9 out of 10 out of what the fuck you're looking at right there in your face, right? The proof is in the pudding type of shit. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I can see everything here. But you also realize, especially with Uranus going on, that a lot of your paranoias or your perceptions or how to read people, how to feel people, how to vibe with people are actually from a survival space, because you had to adapt, right? And now that it's all out on the fucking table in a sense, and it's all rolling off the fucking table, like somebody needs a mop type of shit of, you know, kind of like the soup or the sadness or the sorrow of these misinterpretations that we are all sensing right now in one way or another. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like hard to gain your footing type of shit, not realizing that it's the footing that you need to actually have, right? But you're gonna have to stop doing everything that you're doing in the ways that you have been doing it before, out of a way of panic, out of a way of fear, out of a way of survival. It's like, oh, I could just rush into shit and I could do it real quick. No, because it requires your motivation, is what spirit just said. You know what I'm saying? It requires the energetic movement of your compassion, your passion, your drive, your intention, right? You know, this goes beyond saying it with your chest, fam. This is actually intending your fucking direction of where you want to go on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? Being motivated, understanding that, you know, the light comes from within, and we're here to cultivate that light within somehow. That awareness is another way of saying it. So when you're feeling all these internal body things just literally going on, and kind of like your thoughts are all over the place, or you're ungrounded somehow, or you feel like you're losing your footing, in those moments you have to realize that it's time to do fucking less, right? It's time to slow it completely down, dude. Because if you're fucking overwhelmed and you're trying to fucking literally, you know, just make it through the day or get through whatever it is without respecting or honoring what's going on inside the body, you are automatically fighting yourself, and you're at a loss at that point, right? Which means that you'll probably figure it out, but at the cost of what? When in the allowing, you allow these things to be of no cost, right? You're actually realizing your intention, your willingness to listen, your awareness, your willingness to take a moment and kind of like just be to yourself, and allow whatever it is that's ailing you, or you're feeling, or you're thinking too much about in one way or another, dude, to subside first, because there's no clarity there, right? We don't realize that we have a tendency to go fucking left automatically because we assume we know what it is because we've practiced it before. Not realizing that it's time to sit tight and analyze the decision analyze the feeling, the decision, and the past experiences all at once, realizing that it's time to do something, to make something different, to look at things from a different perspective, to invite yourself to open up to the truth more than the survival instinct of closing yourself off and taking it all on your own. You know what I'm saying? And figuring it out. Because the reality of it is the more pressure we apply to ourselves for us to figure it out, less reliant on asking or looking for help, especially in the spaces that you fear the most, because a lot of us don't understand that there's freedom in fear once we get past whatever it is that we're scared of, right? But I'm talking about personal feats, personal accomplishments. You know what I'm saying? Things you haven't done before. Because a lot of us are in this new energy wondering what the fuck, how come I don't have the fucking same drive that I used to? How come is it that I don't want to do this anymore? Or how come is it that I just want to fully dive into whatever this is that I'm fucking literally feel like I'm being called to, or I'm more passionate about, or I'd rather do this, right? And you don't realize that's that internal struggle that you're having of fucking actually doing something a different way, and then fighting yourself because you want to feel safe because you've had to before. You know what I'm saying? So the ways of reading people, the way that all these things that we have picked up that we consider to be a really good ability, like being able to read people, where does that come from? Well, that comes from a lack of distrust, right? Not being able to trust people. But not being able to trust people also shows you how you don't trust yourself, because it's a mirror reflection somehow, because it's making you feel a certain type of way when you're in the moment or in this particular situation that is making you feel uncomfortable, not realizing that it's time for you to take a step back and reevaluate, because this is a turning point in your life, like this energy that's out here on the table right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, looking at the cards, it's like we all have an opportunity for enlightenment in every moment that we have to take a breath, right? But we don't also understand that we don't give ourselves the time to take that breath, right? We don't slow ourselves down to realize that we are suffering from a slavery complex, okay? A lack of intuition and discernment, because we don't want to fucking look at those things. We don't want to take the time to focus on what sets us free. We'd rather take the time on what's focused on our impoverished self. You know, that slavery mentality, that survival instinct that you're supposed to be seeing the light of right now. These things are being shown to you to make a different decision now. You know what I'm saying? Because sadness and despair because of your finances or because somebody did you dirty is an old story already. You know what I'm saying? It's like Spirit says something to me that was really, really beneficial. You have to break the monotony. It is not going, or it's going to break you. One of the two, right? We have to realize in order to do shit different, we have to exercise inertia, emotion, energy towards those things, right? But the second we try to do that, everything that has been holding you back from it is happening simultaneously against you. The second that you decide that you want to move forward and intensify or, you know, gratify your life for a fucking change, which you haven't been. You know what I'm saying? We don't understand how much it takes to just maintain this fucking survival mode that a lot of people are fucking suffering from right now. You know what I'm saying? When you sit on your throne, this is when you really, really get to see things, bro. This is like really the clarity that a lot of people have been looking for, not realizing that it's exercised in stillness. But there's so much going on and so much pulling us away from those things, like our emotions, our relationship issues, or the lack thereof of a relationship, or a loneliness, or separation, or hermit mode, or being in a closet, not allowing ourselves to be that expression of life and that full beauty, that full embodiment that we're supposed to be right now. You know what I'm saying? If we keep focusing on what's fucking bothering us, then we're never gonna see exactly what God's trying to show us, or what Spirit's trying to show us, or another way of looking at things, another way of doing things, another way of being, right? Because all this light right here in this card, man, all this light is beyond the sadness that a lot of people are focusing on right now. They're all up in their head. Oh, how am I going to do this? How are these finances going to come through? How am I going to live in a better place? How am I going to move forward? How am I going to create more mental, more inertia in my life in a more positive way? Because everything keeps keeping me from focusing on that. My desires, where I choose to be, where I want to be, my spiritual growth, my spiritual path, my success, where my daughter wants to, where I'm going to be there for my daughter in 3 years. It doesn't matter where you're at, dude. You know, by focusing on despair or focusing on the problem, you're never going to see the fucking solution when you pick your head up and look around, right? You know? And of course, the despair leads to what? Danger, you know what I'm saying? But not danger in a sense where you're going to be fucking dead or something. I'm talking about just literally being in that, not being in stillness is also being in chaos. So you have an opposite here. You are either focusing on yourself and understanding that the emotions that you are feeling right now are all coming up to the surface for you to reevaluate whether you want to keep on holding on to this shit or not. You know what I'm saying? And this is the Emperor's path. This is where we sit on our thrones and we realize, yes, we all have one. It doesn't matter, male or female. you sit there and you observe what is happening in the moment right now, especially when it comes to your fucking feelings that are triggered and activated right now, right? And then the opposite of that is allowing the chaos to take you where it doesn't fucking belong. You know what I'm saying? Because from here, you get to choose where you want to fucking go, right? But here, you choose wherever fate is taking you. And this is the opportunity of the split that a lot of people are seeing in their lives right now. Not realizing that it all comes from not the lack of focusing on what ails you, the lack of focusing on the light beyond the despair. You know what I'm saying? And I guess that's the easiest way that I could say that is because from a place of penance, this is how you see all things. Notice how the light is always carried as they're looking up into it on these cards. You know what I'm saying? Even here, looking towards the light, looking towards the long run, setting goals for yourself, realizing that a lot of this is crumbling in chaos for a fucking reason to show you that you're on a new playing field, a blank sheet, a blank slate is what Spirit is saying here. It's no longer time for despair. It's time for release, revelation, and moving on, right? You know, that is the beauty of enlightenment, is because you're shedding light on the darkness of all things simultaneously while you're living your life, dude. And you know, think if people would actually enhance their perspective in that realization, things would change in a very profound way in their life. You know what I'm saying? To where they're no longer figuring the fuck up, and they're trying to fight it, and they're trying to literally argue with it, and they're gonna go to war with it, and they'll take it from anybody that they want to take it from. This is kind of like the blind path, is what Spirit is saying here. It's the opposite of walking into what you're being meant to be walking into right now. Again, you can accomplish these things, but we're moving through a great challenge right now, realizing that the chaos is perpetuated internally. That is inside of ourselves. Everything that is happening outside of ourselves and what is happening that we're feeling, thinking, or saying in one way or another is also an aspect of what is happening in our outer world, right? And then the uncomfort is causing us to kind of like relive our addictions, relapse in one way or another, poverty instincts, literally trying to go into the past to make you feel safe, you know, try to explain shit and make excuses for yourself somehow, or being a coward. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these things are literally coming up to the surface. You know, right now is where we realize that it's time to take a step up and actually sit in that place where we're supposed to sit, where we can make authentic decisions, where we can make intuitive decisions, where we don't have to be in despair anymore, where we don't have to literally kind of like feel like we've been carrying this burden and we have to continue to carry this fucking burden until we're ready to release it. Not realizing that it's like, hey, the only thing that keeps this wood from falling off of your fucking back is your decision to let it off, right? Not a lot of people realize that in that moment that you're in the thick of it, that things are fucking on fire, or you're fucking feeling anxiety or in chaos or imbalanced, unstable. It requires your attention. It requires you to take a step back before you make a profound decision that takes you into this, which also you're dragging this with you. And then you're wondering and looking around when it's all going to stop. When is this going to end? When is it going to be over? Not realizing that you are the one who is arguing with yourself because of the poverty instincts or survival instincts or slavery instincts that have manipulated society for thousands of years, right? It's getting hotter, fam. Everything is more intense. You're feeling a lot more things now. You're actually being called, you're being told to look at these impoverished instincts that you have in one way or another, whether it's love, relationship, finances. This is all material worth and bullshit, when the only thing that matters is you and how you see it, so that way you can create what you need to create to get out of it, right? And that being said, we have to honor the path that we are given regardless of what it looks like right now, because gratitude is what sets you free, because gratitude is enlightening, because a lot of people haven't given you gratitude, or you haven't given gratitude yourself, because we're not grateful people as a society. And that just tells you something in itself, that we automatically swing for the fence to the left with our fucking thinking because of the way that we've been manipulated, the way that we've been conditioned, the way we have lived our lives, you know? So, you know, I'm not making excuses for anybody, but also at the same time, I'm explaining to you, hey, this is what's happening. What are you going to fucking do about it? You know what I'm saying? Because we all have that power within ourselves. We all have that fire, dude. We could use the elements. We are elemental beings. It's what we're created with, to open up doorways for us instead of fucking slamming them shut before we even get to them. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, it defeats the purpose is what Spirit is saying. You know what I'm saying? It's all love and conversation here. You know, understanding that you're the one who chooses the path. You have the power to create that path for yourself, and making those decisions for yourself is what sets you free from those things, but also can strike you down depending on whether how you're making those decisions. So it's kind of reiterating what we were to talk about. But you are the one who wields the wands in your life. You know, and Spirit is saying self accountability, right? One too many times we've been wrapped up in the thick of it. One too many times we've been trapped in the shit. One too many times we've been sat in the seat of despair, right? Because it was made for us, right? This is the fucking trap. This is why we can't set ourselves free, because we're not willing to go beyond the belief system or the boundaries that we have experienced in one way or another, to see that all this is bullshit right now. There's a lot of illusions that we've been suffering from, or manipulated into thinking somehow, or triggered and disempowered somehow. You know what I'm saying? Either way, it's slavery, because you're either a slave to another or a slave to yourself. You're the one who gets to choose. You know what I'm saying? You can choose the fact that you are no longer a slave to society or conditioning or mentalism is what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? Because that's also one of the laws of alchemy, the laws of mentalism. And here we are with literally taking your opportunity to take whatever it is that you are feeling too much about, that is literally trying to control you somewhere, and kind of moving forward instead of letting things fall apart, is what Spirit is saying. It's like, go clean your wagon, go clean your house, go polish your toys, go polish your tools. Whatever it is that you need to do to take this energy inside of you and turn it into something that's actually fucking useful. Alchemize, you know what I'm saying? Hermeticism, and here we go. That creates a new beginning within itself, because now you are manipulating the material world to match how you think and feel and act about yourself. And this happens from that state, that emperor state, where you sit on your throne and you reevaluate everything. But not a lot of people know that or engage in it. Or when they do engage in it, they've been disappointed. They're afraid. They're all up in their head, not realizing that they're the master of their own ship, right? And how we use our mentality, how we use our mentalism is something that's really important to realize, because it takes you places in the physical that shows you the inadequacies or the fallacies in your life, the lies, the fucking lies that you've been told or that you tell yourself. These are the revelations of the spiritual path, is what Spirit just said. And you realize that at the end of the day, you're probably arguing with your fucking self because of the way that you look at things. And that's exactly what's making you feel uncomfortable in one way or another. You know what I'm saying? It's your perspective of what is happening in the moment, in every moment, at all times. And whether balance and discipline is going to be something that you're going to favor, or you're going to sit there and think about what that looks like and not accomplish anything in return. Sooner or later, you realize that you are mastering your emotions. That you're looking onward, thinking that things are going to change, but from a survival space. You have to look at it from a different way, is what Spirit just said. This is not the energy for that. This is to understand that there are many pathways, many opportunities, that the river is vast, as long as you're willing to walk the path, is what they say. And that's where true mastership comes from, because mastering the mental, mastering the mind, mastering the air leads to physical mastery, physical abundance, new opportunities. You know what I'm saying? New doors opening, clarity. Because I think a lot of people are just fucking confused right now as to which way to go, because they're being pulled between worlds, is what Spirit just said. You know what I'm saying? Do you want to live authentically and truthfully, or do you want to live in sympathetic nervous chaos, nervous system chaos, is basically what they just said. You know what I'm saying? Do you want to continue to rock the nervous system with bullshit, inadequacies, inconsistencies, and things you don't like? Or settle the nervous system, sit back in your, in your throne, like in your emperor-like state, take a seat back, and kind of master the emotions and understand that they're trying to take you places where you don't belong. And the only reason they're trying to take you places is because you've been there before, and you subconsciously want to go there because you've done it so many times, right? So a lot of people are suffering from pattern behavior or habits, not realizing that these kind of cook up every 28 days or every 14, you know what I'm saying? Where every 14 days or 14 months is what they're saying, not realizing that these are also opportunities to set us free. But we're not going to talk too much about that right now, because we already have, right? It's time to make a move. It's time to do something different. It's time to reevaluate your extra space. And Uranus is giving us the opportunity today where things are kind of like backed off us, allowing us to open up more and really, really kind of like sit with stuff instead of try not to be triggered, try not to be like, well, what the fuck do I do next? Well, I feel so lost. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? I don't know where my next check is coming from. I don't know. No, none of that. Because all those things led you to the places that they led you to get you here to realize no more. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do that. You've learned a great many things, but you've never done it in a constructive way, in a sense, where it has been nothing but love and positivity that has driven the machine versus fear and survival, right? So you're getting two different fucking results. You can come with fear and survival and manifest fear and survival, or you can manifest the opposite, right? Because they both exist simultaneously in the law of oneness and the law of unity, and the law of compensation will tell you these things, right? So a lot of people don't, they want to figure out the physical in their fucking lives, but they don't realize that it takes the internal work. And this is what we're talking about here. It's the internal work that gets you past your own fucking judgment and your own limitations and opinions of people. And this is where Uranus is also a very lightning aspect of fucking what the fuck is going on. If you feel pressure, if you feel suffocated, if you feel nauseated, if you feel woozy or dizzy, that is actually calling you back to the body. You've gone too far. Now let's take it into the mental aspect. If your mind's all over the place and your head's all over the place and you can't shut it the fuck off, well, make it busy. You know what I'm saying? And that's it's kind of like a little, honestly, like if you're really, really feeling some type of way, why sit there and fucking fight it when you can do something about it? People don't realize that they have that opportunity to do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you got to move something, you got to make a move, you got to release stagnant energy, or you're in a stagnant place or you feel like things aren't moving. You make moves that settle your nervous system, that allow you to embody more of what is happening right now. The spirit, the essence of God, the creator, the energy sense, the energy work, the internal awareness that is coming up in a lot of people right now, And when you move past all those things, you get to see what's beyond it. And if you look beyond this, bro, that's the Great Mother sitting in the back, bro. That's the Sophia codes that have been activated in a lot of people right now. Not realizing that even people, it may seem angelic, or things that are happening in your life are nothing less than miraculous somehow, but they don't seem to be what you desire in the way that you desire it. So you kind of like disfavor it, and you're not paying attention to what's actually happening. And here we are explaining it to yourself, that you are all responsible. You are all alchemists. And now it's time to engage in alchemy for a reason, and not let it perpetuate your life when you are the one who perpetuates. Again, we all have choices, man. And choice or chance, you get to choose. And that leads to new endeavors and new awarenesses. And they wanted me to add that, dude. So, it's like, are you going to sit in your ass and wait for things to come to you, or are you going to make things grow around you because now you intend to? This brings fulfillment, fam. Emotional mastery and awareness. So, Salah, what a beautiful reading, man. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I was so excited to come on here today and actually read some cards for a change. Does anybody have anything to say? Does anybody have any questions? You're more than welcome to ask questions. Please, we encourage it. The comments help support the channel too, as well. Did you leave, Mr. Burke? Did you miss that? I don't answer personal questions on live. Oh, well, that's cool, man. It's about opening doorways and not slamming them shut anymore, man. We used to do that all the fucking time because we're tired of shit. And then you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and then and I believe the astrology kind of did that for a lot of people, dude. Is making your ass sleepy as shit, making your ass sit down and kind of like look at things differently. Because the second that you start sitting down in revelation, is what Spirit just said, You start to see all the things that have been keeping you busy for so long because they're still spinning in your mind. Ooh. Because you're the one who stopped that wheel from turning, and now you get to watch it spin until it slows down. And those are the cycles that are happening right now. That's fucking dope. You never know what you're gonna get here, fam, from Spirit, I'm telling you. It's a good time to ask you if you'd like a reading, dude. I am doing readings today for just $19. Yes, 19. Go figure. $19 if you'd like a personal message and energy reading and guidance, you know, and awareness, because these tools help us understand and navigate the choices that we have to make in our lives, or make informed decisions to take that next step in our life and allow more doors and more abundance and opportunity in. You know, instead of taking, you know, instead of fumble fucking everything, this is more of a guided path that allows you to exercise your free choice and free will with a more informed decision, you know, with more information than what normally a lot of people don't have and end up fucking it up anyway. You know what I'm saying? So can't say, hey, bro, there ain't a motherfucker in here that doesn't have that kind of experience some way, somehow. I'm just saying. You can all relate. So the link is in the bio. You can type done and how you donated, man. Again, this was a beautiful collective message, and I look forward to creating more messages for people, you know, because the gift of understanding, dude, allows us to make the decisions that we really need to make in our life that propel us forward instead of backward, you know, and that's the God's honest truth. We're going from a time where you thought the wheel was against you when you realized the only reason it was turning backwards is because you didn't know what was happening. You know, and now to get that motherfucker to move forward is a little rough, of course, dude, because now you're going against the energy of rotation. You know, not realizing that that's going to be the muscle memory that you build across time to set yourself free, so that way you no longer experience it. I myself, from that perspective within itself, realize that if I don't set these kind of goals in my life, then I'm not going to accomplish anything. Mm-hmm. You know, and I believe that's really important. You know, but then again, I'm not telling anybody how to live or what to do. But I can talk to you about the benefits of actually doing those things for yourself and showing you how if you have questions, you know, because we're here for the people. We're here for these things, to share these knowledge, wisdom, and experiences. So that way we can evolve, grow in a different way, dude, because fuck, it's not working anymore. And that's why it's all falling apart. Yay! Does anybody have any questions? I have to ask, because not a lot of, I've noticed that, bro. Not a lot of people ask questions. I mean, of course you get the actual, you know, the usual freaking bot shit, which is like, Brett, will I make it with, you know what I'm saying? Will I get that job today, or da 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 da? I'm like, bro, you know, you might as well put a quarter in a machine and see what gumball tells you that, depending on its color. You know what I'm saying? You can't come with that kind of energy. You know, this is beyond that. This is like real work, fam. You know what I'm saying? But the experiences speak for themselves, and the only thing that you have to do is experience them for yourself. And I can show you this now, which is the Fool card, the Fool's Journey. You don't know what you're doing, but you're going to do it because you just feel a certain type of way about it. And that is the key, is what Spirit just said. Well, I can't tell you that I haven't enjoyed being with all of you today and actually doing a collective message here. You know, much love to each and every one of you. I'm going to get up out of here, man. Y'all take care, fam.